Good evening and welcome to week 2 of Counter-Strike, day number 2, North American portion. We are here in Santa Monica and we are ready for some Counter-Strike. I'm joined by Dan and I'm joined by Launders. All kinds of finger pointing going on and we haven't even started the first match. Right then, let's have a look and see what teams we have in this league. For those of you who are just tuning in. Do you tune? You don't really tune. Is it tuning if you put a website? Who knows? Anyway, Rogue, E-United and Complexity. Those are the teams joining the league this season. Nice to see Complexity back. Nice to see Hiko back and Caden as well. E-United, formerly known as Rise Nation. Saw some of them yesterday. And those are the teams joined by the likes of SK and so on, previous champions. Let's have a look and see what matches we have coming up for you today. NRG versus Complexity. More NRG, currently 6-0 at the top of the table. They'll be playing Nuke and then Cash. Then we've got Liquid versus Optic, Inferno and Train. All kinds of Counter-Strike going on. Lads, what do you think about this?
Should be a cushion match for NRG.
A cushion match?
A cushion match, yes.
A cushion match.
Because, you know, these are the 2 matches you win, and then later on, when it comes down to the top 4, you've got these 2 matches you didn't lose versus Complexity that help you, that boost you above the rest. The cushion matches.
Sounds like a comfortable cushion, Launders.
I'd like to sit on it.
But equally, if it goes the other way, then they're screwed.
Yes.
Because all of the,
that's why you don't lose your cushion
the
matches.
opponents they're fighting against will be winning that game. And you don't tune into website, James. It's just like a humble little leftover of film history, television history, or radio history, or broadcasting history, let's say. And we put it in there, we insert it to remind ourselves of where we came from.
Tuning in, yes. The days of long wave radio.
Which is why
and such.
That book should have like actual games of historic relevance in it.
We've got to move this. It's going to trigger Dan to death.
So no, that's I bought this. Give me that. So Dan is triggered by the 100 Greatest Video Games magazine, as written by Edge, 2017 edition. It is questionable, but I feel like at this point, especially for written word, if you will, not really the best term, but anyway, for magazines and so on, if they just put the usual stuff in here, no one would read it, right? So it has to be somewhat challenging.
Like this is to make people mad.
That's like adopting really a kid just so that they'll make you expressos. That's not a good reason.
No, it's probably not a good reason, Launders. Good thing I haven't adopted any kids. But for this magazine, I can see why there are some unusual picks, but it's still interesting how you even create this list in the first place.
No, exactly. It's just ambiguous, isn't it? I'm telling you, the point of a list like this is just to cause controversy and make people just mad.
It worked, didn't it?
That's the kind of journalism we're dealing with here.
You know, to try and cause like discussion and stuff.
No.
There's a... it's not the term I'm looking for.
It's not scientific, James. There's no science
Hearthstone
in there.
is in here. Hearthstone is 71. I haven't played Hearthstone. I don't like playing virtual card games. I feel like card games should be a card game. The only exception is the one that was in Final Fantasy 10 or something.
There's also the Metal Gear game for the PSP. That was a card game as well.
Gwent.
There's Gwent.
Gwent is really people
say Gwent's actually very good.
It's actually very good. It's much better than Hearthstone.
Transistor's in here.
Too bad it's not as cool and popular as Hearthstone and not in the top 100 games of all time, Dan.
But its game mechanics are so much superior.
Tear away.
Maybe we should put this away, James. Can I burn it?
No, I paid this. Do you know how much this cost me? It was £13.
13.
Wow, you could have got like half a Nando's for that.
You got some.
I like reading.
Thighs.
I like reading magazines. I'm a big magazine reader. But when you go to airports and so on, they've got these like special edition magazines which are mad expensive. So I bought that for the plane. I don't read half the magazines I buy for the plane, on the plane. But here it is. But they have another one, which is the like making of. In the apartment, they've got a making of book, which is, it looks interesting. I have only read like a paragraph so far, but anyway, there's some swag that you can collect while you wait for the first match to start. Huh?
It's a link you can press, like many links.
You can't press the link though, just like you can't tune into the website.
I guess you can type it in.
You can, exactly. See, we're screwing ourselves over there.
Yeah, we really are.
NRG starting on the CT side, looking to keep their clean sheet at the top of the table. 6-0 at the moment. Def, Rory Jackson from the UK, here with his P1 visa for Complexity. But will NRG put him back on the plane? They've got the first kill. FNS has been taken out. All Kevlar for the remainder of Complexity. Not sure what FNS had. Made a quick exit. Homeland Security taking him away. Ethan picked off. He's had some nice performances recently for NRG.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like NRG will be pretty comfortable on the upper bomb site for the time being. Doing some good damage here, some trades will be there, but generally speaking, NRG, big advantages. And it's just a matter of time, it feels like, until Android is worn away. And really, the impetus is on him. The initiative's on him. He is the progressive to find the bomb. And so that's why the CTs are slowing things down, but... So how do you guys feel about this? Like, Finesse on Complexity, I feel like, you know, with CLG, I feel like it wasn't really necessary. It turned out to not be the right team for him. I feel like he definitely has some like potential as a leader, as like a decent leader to grow a team, as long as they actually want to work with him.
I think the addition of FNS to CLG late on was not what they needed.
Yeah.
I feel like the addition to FNS to Complexity is needed for direction.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think it's an appropriate addition to the team.
Yeah.
In this regard.
I feel like they got a good pickup, a really good pickup there.
Yeah, I think they lucked out. I think he risks hurting his brand a lot, you know, coming to Complexity if they don't do well. Yeah. But then he's also got to consider himself part of the reason they do well if they do start winning. And
yes.
And picking the brand up could actually reflect really well on him. I think it's just a big task because sometimes he could be a great leader, but if you don't have the right tools, you know.
Yeah. If like, you know, young kids don't necessarily always want to listen or put the hard work in or require more maintenance, which is more appropriate for a dad than a player. So it can be like you can have good talent, but they need to be there mentally as well, basically.
And it's really difficult when everybody's motivations are in different places all the time.
Just saying that we need to see professional teams start hiring dads.
Yes.
Team dad.
Well, if you look at
buying Nespressos.
If you look at the discussion about like what Freiburg was trying to do in Optic, he was shouting at everybody the whole time, and he was really hard on them, and you know he was merciless, essentially. And I like that. I mean, yeah, I know, but the idea, I like the idea of it. Although the problem also, I mean, he had some mature players on his team, but the problem also is that will work for some kind of players, and other kind of players won't necessarily like wilt under that kind of, you know, militant pressure, but just won't perform for whatever reason. So you need to find something that works for everybody, especially with the young ages that some people have.
I would never have described Freiburg as militant, but now
not until today.
Yeah.
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 The teddy bear.
I actually watched I watched a mini documentary on Alex Ferguson, who used to manage Manchester United. For those of you not familiar, it's like a 15-minute video talking with players and how they would just be afraid, and like this in the dressing room one evening, one of the players, his wife was in hospital and she was calling his mobile phone. Everyone was like, oh my god, please don't let that be my phone. And then he found out whose phone it was. I don't care if your wife's in hospital, and he threw the phone on the floor and smashed it and stuff like that.
That's how you have to be.
Yeah, he is a savage.
If you want to win.
Yeah, he got the best out of his team.
I think it does make sense, though, that you need to be more on that side as opposed to the other, right?
Mm.
Yeah. And you can have a lot of people trying to have fun and a good time, but ultimately to get them all on the same page, you're going to have to be a little bit rough around the edges.
It requires discipline. When I tried to be that guy, nobody on the team talked to me anymore.
Well,
they all deleted me. I wasn't after it.
That's the other thing, though. You have to have, you have to be the decorated officer in command, right? You have to be able to say, "I've done it before. I have the experience to back it up."
Most decorated man I
know.
No,
it was What my issue was that I didn't really at that point didn't understand what I needed to do as an in-game leader, because it's like they asked me to be in-game leader for a team, but then during the round everybody would say, let's do this, let's do that. And it's like, well, who's the in-game leader? It's like, you are. It's like, exactly, so shut up then, you know. But some people couldn't take that, just deleted me from Steam, so there we go.
Was that the last season that you played?
Was
that the first season that you played?
It's the buy round now, so we'll come back to that. I need to think about it. I don't think it was.
Ooh. Bish bash.
That was some Street Fighter. Just been absolutely bodied. Goodbye, Cirque. Good man to keep off a gun if you are Complexity. Although the worst is yet to come, I'm sure. Now, what is this? Line up from Def. I don't know where his grenade is going. Peters is a wall of smoke, but I don't know if he deployed a smoke elsewhere. Well, he was lining up in a totally different direction, but I suppose he turned. Wall of smoke outside at the minute mark, and NRG will wonder what Complexity are up to. Trying to force their way into the heart. The full spray from Brezzy. Almost time to reload his gun as well.
Alright, so really interesting spot here, because Ethan's in position. Oh, that's a nice frag. Nailing Peter to the back of the wall. Now, 2v2, the bomb is just now collected, by, I believe, by Lobby. So, Complexity committing onto this upper bomb site. It's quite interesting to see the new Nuke in action. Daps will join Ethan from behind. It's going to be quite a tough retake here from the upper position. Daps now with the AWP to try to make it work. Well, that could be pretty money. That incendiary switching over to the FAMAS, but misses the timing perhaps to take down Def. And maybe all over from now. He's going to go for the save. Indeed, a wise choice from Daps. And a very important round for Complexity to win.
It seemed like Daps shot himself in the foot a little bit by throwing the Molotov before switching to his other gun.
Yeah,
could have caught him moving out of position. But either way, it was a nice round from Complexity. I like that they, once they got the opening kill, instead of seeking to make it a 3v5, which sometimes can be too big of a risk, they threw the simple smokes outside, baits out some utility, maybe causes a rotate, and then Breeze was actually in a great position for this kind of action and got right in front of the execute, but they still managed to trade him out. It did end up being favorable numbers, but once they got upstairs, it was fine.
Earlier wall of smokes, and this time Android will be doing the lineup instead of Def, so good to see that they've got multiple people who can do it if required. Often, only one guy knows all the smokes on the team and everybody else has their set role. And it seems that wall of smoke is not the best one. It's a brave peek from Peter in that gap. Oh, look at the size of that gap as well. That is poverty.
It's a wage gap right there.
That is a that's a budget wall of smoke right there.
I'm still like learning the sort of some of the nuances of the changes, like how that actually impacts play. And obviously we saw the previous round, like the dynamics around huts. Now you don't have the window around the squeaky door, and that's gone, and everything's opened up a little bit. You can see that Complexity will still be able to get outside, looking to go behind the CTs. It's a brilliant position to have, and Def should be able to get himself, with the help of Android, some openings onto this upper bomb site. Complexity looking very good. Bugging from behind. I'm not sure how he was able to sneak up on them, but that can change everything here. Giving his team a very good chance here now to stop the bomb from going down. Finesse has to turn his attention up high, but he'll get dropped from behind as Daps appears. And what a blunder there. I'm not sure how they didn't spot Fugly.
He was on the ramp, but they just didn't go to the ramp. They went outside to hell.
He decided to walk up from Turnpike, and then he picked a great timing, I suppose, to come up, because it seemed brave, and that's the exact reason why they wouldn't be watching their flank or looking down the ladder. But it's sad because Complexity had such a great split, and even though they walked outside initially, they ended up using it to wrap hell, which was brave in and of itself. So unfortunate on a round where, you know, now they have to save because they lost.
Yeah, very unlucky timing. And it indeed makes it very scary. I mean, NRG going to have the ability to make quite some money. How do you feel about the new Nuke launchers? Do you feel like it's more CT favorites?
I haven't played any competitive matches on the new Nuke, so I don't know if I have a personal feeling for it, but I will say I like the changes overall. I missed the hut window. It was one of the last skill jumps. There's just very few skill jumps in general left in the game. But you know, falling into hut window was a skill-based jump that's completely removed, and it removes the whole meta of 1v1s where you could jump in and out of the window to fight people on the site. I don't think the change made a lot of sense, but
that's the only one I disagree with as well.
That frickin' rafter on the outside. Now that that's gone, I'm just happier. So
yep.
That changes the meta for the CTs completely.
Makes life a bit easier for the Ts. Suck. Aggressive. Cirque is absolutely a person to keep your eye on. Such a young player, but he has been, in the last year, just so incredibly good. It's hard to imagine him not being one of the most powerful players going into the next year or two. Like just developing, like, as he gets that stage experience, which seems like it could be inevitable. Good trade there from Peter.
It especially seems real now because of how well his team's playing as well. You know, suddenly Cirque comes on the scene, he's opping, he's doing a great job. But guess what? You know, the rest of NRG have a great system behind him that make him look good. And that's why I like to say that it's important to rate. If you want to rate an individual player, which I think is a stupid thing to talk about most of the time, you should do it in a results-based setting, because who knows how much Cirque adds to the team apart from just being a great opper.
Yeah.
You know.
Nice way to start off an anti-eco rounds. Bomb in no man's land, but the bomb is no longer a priority for Death. Surely it's just the frags, but not on this occasion. 7-1. The landslide scores continue. Seen many 7-0 starts for the teams in the European segment of our show today, and 7-1 not far off that. Tactical timeout from Complexity as they look to stop the rot, as Tosspot would say.
I mean, the other thing about NRG too is that we've seen Ethan coming into his own on this team, and we know that Breeze is very good upcomer as well. Fugly, he's pretty reliable too. It's like across the board, actually, from a skill perspective, I really like how this team looks. There's only really dabs that you could, say, as like, I mean, he's got okay skill. It's nothing, that will surprise you. He'll be the last person you want in the clutch, but he's the IGL, so he's adding a lot of value otherwise. He
surprised us yesterday. He top fragged on an Inferno.
And he had that 1v4 in the pistol round.
That's very true.
Thank you very much, Dan.
But no, it's true. I mean, compared to his teammates, mechanically is not something you talk about. But he has had moments. I'd say his thing is he's very inconsistent, and it shows because of how good he can be.
Yeah.
So that's fair. Interesting new approach to the wall smokes outside. They've thrown 3, but Ethan gets in front of it. Peter responds with a jump up on the box and gets naded down. Now there's a 4-4. It's hard to say who comes out ahead here. I think I'd feel a little bit more uncomfortable as a CT, but Complexity don't have any information after this exchange.
Complexity need to poke holes in this defense now. They have the CTs on 4 instead of 5 persons, if you will. Molotov will land in time. They line up for Fugly, but Circle steal one away. And it looks like a solid hold of the A site. 2 players down, but upgrade to an AK, at least for Fugly. 8-1. So that is a really fast frag from Peter. Naded into oblivion afterwards. Didn't prove to be so important, though, as his team were unable to capitalize on that. And now they're back on pistols.
We've had a lot of one-sided games today. Maybe it could just be the trends. Maybe NRG are looking to keep the trend going. Hard to see. This is like when you hit your groove on this map on the CT side. Like even if it's a new map, I mean, I think I've played many iterations of this map across like last 18 years. So it's still the same map. It's still a map where it's all about CT rotations. You can get quick to the lower side, the upper side. The setups are roughly always going to be the same. And once you hit that groove on the CT side, it just feels really good. It feels really, really good in this map.
And when you don't hit that groove on T side, it just feels really bad.
Yeah, it feels like you can't do anything.
Yeah.
If you don't have the right sort of tools, it can be very, very problematic.
I'm actually interested, one of the places I'm most interested in on this version, this iteration of Nuke, is post-plant on the B bomb site around the control room position. I did a short video on it, but I haven't really, I think this is the second game of Nuke I've seen since it was updated, second or third, so I haven't seen too many scenarios. This is getting weird now for NRG. The bomb is down. There is a M4 on one of these players. A nice shot from Cirque. Needs to be careful though, but Daps is there to trade, so not so bad. Now FNS, how much more damage can he do with all of 7 HP. There are many places for these CTs to cover. Are the doors closed? Yes, they are. So they have a warning. There is the warning. There is the kill. And there is the round. AWP will be rescued. 9-1 for NRG, playing on a sugar rush.
I really like how Daps played it because he was just spotting for information. He let the T's take the control room, knowing that they had pistols and so on. It's more important for him to survive, create a spot where his teammates can safely come down the vents, into the vents. And I felt like he just played that really well because there's a lot of players who would take the fights, and he played the sure thing.
Yeah, 100% agree. You have to be confident enough to play retake, even though it's not that serious in that situation. You have to think about that maybe extended possibility, and it's just more prudent to play like that. Trust yourself, trust your teammates, and work on the optimal option.
So do we get a change of approach here for Complexity? They have the full buy. Circ repositioning was spotted outside, made some noise there. Now he's over towards the ramp. This could work out quite well. They may feel as though they can take that angle, not against the AWPer, which changes things a lot if there is an AWPer there.
Wall of smokes once again. Will it be a fast play into main? On the inside of the T box. That is a curious smoke from Ye, a bit late. Don't know what the value of that was. 5-0 second mark as they move into the secret position. There's a CT waiting for them, at least one. You see there are tight angles towards main as well. Complexity now. What is your play? Fugly has a lot of information. Some delayed tactics from him with the Molotov. And the timing of those Molotovs may force Complexity into a play they didn't really plan on doing. 26 seconds. It will be complete guesswork for NRG once this execute finally comes in. CT vents going to be Molotov. And the push finally starts to move into the A site. Breeze picked off on the low ground. Ethan picked off on the high ground. Android will be taken, but the site is Complexities. And they've got a player in heaven as well.
And these plays into the upper side do seem to go quite well for them. It's been maybe like 3 times we've seen them either win rounds on the upper bomb side or have very good opportunities. And looks like they should be good to secure this one. NRG not really with a way in. Cirque might be teased here, but he's ultimately not afforded a way onto that bomb. So Complexity making it happen on the upper bomb side. It'll be curious to see now what the response is from NRG, or whether Complexity will even go for that again.
You don't even really have to ask how confused NRG were. You can just see that they rotated 3 people down to lower, so they were more convinced that it was going to be a take downstairs, and the smokes outside convinced them. All the attention that they brought outside in general convinced them to pull the rotates. And when you commit out of heaven, you are making a big jump because it takes forever to get back up there. As the smokes start coming into upper, you can't go back up, and that's the best place you want to be to defend the upper site. So NRG were in a tough place, and Complexity, even though the time started running low, they did a good job. They all stayed alive. They maintained outside control, even had a heaven flank, and I guess took all the time they needed.
Wow. How about that for a peek? No hut window required. Just open the squeaky door and stare at main. And late Daps with a nasty surprise. All of smoke once again, and Ye will make his way towards that secret position. Got one CT above him in Garage. He may choose to give sound cues away deliberately or otherwise. Now Cirque will make use of that squeaky door and go back for more, politely closes it as well. He was raised well. Peter moving around with the AWP, but Cirque has the angle, so if he goes back for this, he better be careful. Crouch peek will save him as Cirque shoots above him. Meanwhile, Fugly forced away from the ramp.
But it's one thing to sort of push these positions and clear the space. It's another to assemble the team and capitalize. This is like another dynamic of CT sides Nuke that you definitely are okay with falling back and giving up position, but you've got to be pretty cautious and communicate well so things like that don't happen. Yay, catching Cirque off guard in the vent, and now Complexity have all kinds of options, but Breeze can actually do a lot of damage here, potentially stop this. The double comes in, the bomb is there as well. There's no way for them to take him down unless they start wallbang, trying to go for wallbang attempts, and in the distraction comes out Fugly from the vent, and just like that, it's looking terrible for NRG, but they still find a way to secure the round.
Breeze goes full monster mode. 20 HP from the top of the hut. 3 players coming out. Pretty much one of the only angles they have to clear is him after they walk upstairs. FNS misses a couple of bullets. Not a hard I mean, a very hard shot to hit, aiming directly up. I mean, your mouse gets locked at a certain point. It's just, if you weren't running out backwards, then you're pretty much screwed. So taking full advantage there, but that round became so messy. It was hard to say if NRG were making bad rotates out, if Complexity were in the positions they wanted to be in. I mean, Cirque getting completely caught off guard in vents, and I'm wondering how FNS ended up on the other side of it in the first place. So.
Ooh. Peter's more awake today, eh? It's really annoying when you hold that angle. You're not as alert as you might otherwise be, and you get out fragged. 1 minute mark, 4 on 4. Cirque is no longer here, so NRG will, the remainder will need to pick up the slack, and they've got great players with which to do that. Taps on the rotation, keeping it quiet, no sound cues on the ladder, as Complexity moves to take ramp.
Again, this is as long as NRG know or can somehow keep track of the movements of the Ts, they're fine. Breeze actually coming in from the flank could be massive too. They may expect someone from the back, but maybe not from his particular angle, so that could be a pretty huge play. Got a lurker outside there for Complexity as well, as we just saw on the camera. So a lot going on here. Ethan finding himself a good angle though, and that's going to occupy the attention of the Ts, and you can see that's going to be very nice for Breeze. Oh, Def able to just barely catch him as he tries to drop down, and it's a 2v1 now in favor of NRG as the bomb is on the floor in the open, and there's no time to really get the plant going. This is an impossibly hard situation. Just trying to force out Ethan. He'll do so, but to his detriment. Another round going the way of NRG against Complexity.
One of the only times that they tried to go lower, and in that 1v2, there was a small window of opportunity there for Def. He baited out the peek from Ethan, but it's one of the problems with lower is just how hard it is to find a safe spot to plant in. I think in that particular case, he wanted somebody to peek, but still, I think being safe from ramp and finding a place to peek where he could hold that door would have been ideal.
T's quickly moving through secret this time, and the Molotov is there. NRG sense desperate push from the T's, and importantly, Daps will throw his smoke into the Molotov so it doesn't bounce around, it just activates immediately, minimizing the window with which Complexity can try to abuse. Slight grenade damage. He will reset his angle. More coverage, going up and down the stairs, changing his level. And here comes the support for Daps as well. Breeze getting the last kill. Solid half so far for NRG. Closing in on a 7-0 scoreline.
Being able to abuse those stairs is one of the key positions to catch players falling back from lower. There's going to be 2 sets of stairs, basically. There's the ones towards decontamination, Heisenberg, or the ones towards control room. And they both are very, very nice. Like, it's a long headshot angle, multiple elevations you can work with.
It's beautiful, as is that headshot from Ethan Ye on the wrong corner of that smoke. Desperate times. Ethan gets his bow wrong, he can just leave.
He's having a lot of fun, isn't he? Just running around outside.
A gay old time, as they used to say in Flintstones.
Yeah.
FNS spotted. Ooh, he's in a sandwich. He used the Reuben sandwich. And there it is, 13-2. Scoreline, which has been fairly common today. It's a bizarre day of Counter-Strike.
This game, though, I feel like it could have looked a lot different there. There was a couple like really close rounds. Like there was that one round, I think it was Breeze, above the hut, where he's able to basically get 2 or 3 kills around that position, and it was very unexpected. He had 20 HP. There's a lot of like marginal spots where if NRG were to win that round, we may see like I've seen like a 10-5 or a 9-6, I think. So that's Counter-Strike though. That's what it's about. Sometimes you get to 13-2.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret that players on NRG are just like Maybe individually, just more incredibly talented.
Yes.
That's a great response to the smoke. 3 people spraying through the door in case there was a more significant push, but it was only Fugly. The rest of the players now streaming through the B bomb site. Should be a plant here for NRG, but what will their post plant be like? This is the area which has changed as well. Deeper corners now, and the bomb has been planted, but there's still 5 CTs alive. 5 versus 2. Breeze needs 2, almost, but not quite. And now it's down to Daps. He's closed himself. He wants to be alone. But perhaps he won't be. Does he have some kind of plan in mind? Doesn't look like it.
Oh.
And there is the round for complexity. There is hope.
There was. Daps one before. I've seen it before.
But the issue though is that the bomb did go down, so complexity have to be pretty cautious of what NRG are capable of on that 3rd round.
I love this pistol round from NRG though. The thought process is 4 people to take ramp go lower very quickly. The CT that holds ramp is either going to be holding from turnpike and fighting, you kill him, or Donny falls back, or it's a guy lower that you chase down. And then they use the squeaky guy to throw a smoke out, get control of it. And if he gets down gets down the vent successfully, then no one can rotate in from lower easily or from upper easily. And anyone who's in the vent can't shoot players coming into the B site, because that's like the most annoying thing that you have to deal with, is someone that's in the vent. So it's a lot of peace of mind for the ramp players.
Yeah, I definitely liked it. Simple, but effective. Not much to be effectual for NRG in this round, though. Just a slow but sure demise for Daps and his crew as they await better times in the following round where they'll have AKs. Or maybe some of them will opt not to have AKs so they can have more grenades. We'll see. I do wonder, you know, if NRG have much for this map, for the T side.
Yeah, you do wonder how developed this is. I know some teams will be going in. Ironically, Virtus Pro would always embrace any new map or any significant changes. There's always Taz who was saying like, love it, it's great, no matter what it was.
They had
even the early Cobblestone, they were all over it.
They had a big advantage too, because they had to spend so much time together that they could like develop maps and then just move on. Oh wow, the dry cross outside, Cirque even gets a kill.
Deep grenade into main. May stave off more losses for the time being, but that's a lot of information gleaned by Complexity. But if they do want to rotate to action something relating to that information, it may cause holes elsewhere, especially with 4 players alive. So they must be careful in what they choose to do.
I really like that as well, because they have the AKs, so they know they're going to have really strong engagements if there's no smokes down, and that was the case. Good push here from Complexity, trying to figure out what's going on. They've got some map control there, looking into lobby, seeing nothing. What does that tell them so far? Because NRG are just holding their ground at the moment.
It's actually a bit of a good late smoke. I like that Complexity tried to trade map control with them and go for that hut push. Not seeing anybody though, I think it's only going to confuse them more, because they've still got Fugly inside Squeaky with the bomb.
Could mean ramp split towards the B bomb site, but you would still expect a lurker in this position. So they're on a high ground evade, they're on a low ground evade. Def on the outside can run distraction now with 2 players in the hut or around the hut for the CTs. Moving towards that squeaky position, there is a hole in a door. One opens the door for the other, and smoke down in main might be a problem. But now all that's left for NRG is guns and a flashbang. Waiting for the CTs who are patiently waiting for the smoke to go away. Flashbang is there. Def is the first to push, first to pull. Daps with a very nice corner, baiting his teammates. Would he even be required at the very, very end? 14-4 NRG.
They actually had really strong post plants. They had 1 player Mustang, 1 backside. There was no one there that would have died first, so they had to just like leave for dead. Instead, they could all just kind of mow down players on very favorable engagements coming across their angles, and Daps would be like kind of the last person to guarantee getting first contact as well.
Fast round from NRG as far as grenades are concerned. No delay in this wall of smoke. Will it be a good one, however? 3 smokes down on the outside position. Daps is going to hang back in case there's a push through the smoke, perhaps. Android around the corner of Secret, he will get a lot of sound cues, and because they're quite spread out, he may have a good idea as to how many players are making their way into the Secret position. And there is Daps very late, last man standing, but takes Android's flank away from him. Circle already in control of control, but yeah, he's on the low ground.
Looking at the cross to the bomb planting spot, but fails to do too much. It's Peter from the vents who's able to get a quick kill, but taken by surprise, it seems, by a wayward Cirque, leaving Def in a 1v3. And not a good spot to be in. NRG looking like they're outclassing Complexity at the moment. Really nice round from them, very explosive, very quick, very decisive, and that will give them match point.
One of the biggest points of having low utility and just a bad economy on CT side is just being susceptible to those really fast plays, really simple ones that can just run you over, and especially with the T's knowing you buy, but that knowing that you can't afford a lot, that's just, that sucks.
It does, and now they are on CZ, a scout, which sucks even more. And NRG just taking it easy towards the outside. 3-4 plays there, leaving one in lobby or radio room to try to make sure the CTs aren't pushing the back. And Breeze will happily take any outside engagements that he happens upon. There's number 2. And there it is. So, looking quite good here for NRG. Just one man left between victory. Oh, Finesse won't go down without a fight, but that's it. 16-4, very decisive result from NRG on Nuke. Was this expected?
Kind of.
I think a victory was expected. NRG, they've looked strong recently. They are currently undefeated, and they've, is that 17 maps in a row, or matches that they've won now?
No. I think they immediately lost one after the 16 matches. Yeah.
As soon as somebody mentions it, it's like, oh my god, pressure.
But,
well, never mind.
But it's still an unbelievable record.
It's a pretty good run indeed, and it does continue at least their run in ECS for the time being. 7-0 at present, but there's one more match to come between these two teams, and that's going to be Cash. So after this, we might see a connect from the likes of Cirque, who had a pretty good Nuke anyway. 21 kills for him. Peter had some nice shots as well, and I expect they'll both be going head-to-head on the next map.
Yeah, I think the fact that they're like a team with loads of young talent and they don't yet know what it's like to sort of just have a really sort of terrible slump for a long time, you know, after hitting a peak or something. They've not really had like a really good peak yet. I think like this just serves to be a position where they have crazy confidence, which is really fun to watch. So
that's how Cloud9 won the major.
There you go.
They just had like a 5-month upswing and then literally won the major.
Drops. Make sure your account is connected, your FACEIT account, your YouTube account. Go to your FACEIT settings, go to integrations, connect to YouTube, and maybe win some FACEIT points. We gave away, I think, over, well, 250,000 were won by one person earlier on, and maybe you could win something later on. Make sure you're connected. After the break, we will have cash between these two teams. We will see you back here in just a few minutes.